and we are here to answer any questions that you may have in regards to relationships. So you actually sent us a list of questions that we're gonna take a look at together and kind of give you a guy's and girl's perspective on the matter. So stay tuned and get all of your questions answered. Let's hop right into this, honestly. And the first question you sent us was general icks, do's, and don'ts with the person you want to get with, or your lover, or whoever. So I'll start us off. What do you think? Yeah. I think one thing that's really important when trying to get someone, or like when you're with someone, is hygiene. So brush your teeth, take showers, I don't know, smell good. I feel like that's a really big thing. I don't know, what about like girls? Yeah, is that a big thing?
I think so. I think that hygiene is like the bare minimum that a person can do to be attractive.
Don't be shy to come talk in the mic. But yeah, hygiene, smelling. I think that like if you're looking at someone and they just kind of come off as like musty and greasy, I don't know, like sticky, it's a no-go for me.
Because then it feels like they don't take care of themselves. And I feel like it's attractive when a person takes care of themselves, because you can tell they put care and thought into their appearance.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I completely agree with you. I think another ick that I have is when the like relationship is really one-sided. Like if it's really one person kind of waiting for the other to like make a move. Like it's one person really waiting for the attention and just like is just receiving and not giving. It's just a red flag for me. I can't deal with that. I can't stand seeing other people also get put in that situation. Like I don't know if you've had friends where you've seen it happen and you're like, it's not how it should be, especially when you're like your friend is the one always giving, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have something like that, really do.
I agree. Like, especially when you know that your friend deserves more and you can see that they're not getting enough.
Right.
That's like a major red flag. Yeah.
Any icks or red flags from what you have?
I feel like in general, just like the other person being a kind person, especially when you're out in public. And for example, like being nice to servers and just workers at like a restaurant. I feel like that tells you a lot about the person that they are versus like how respectful they are when they're out in public interacting with people.
I actually really agree. I think if you're not respectful and like, I don't know, you leave trash out and you're like, oh, it's the janitor's job. Like, no, like, ew.
Yeah.
Pretty much. What are you doing? Who raised you? I think if we add both of us, just one each, I feel like that'll give you kind of a good idea. Another one that I kind of think is important is if their only motivation in life is money, like if you're doing things for money constantly, it's honestly a red flag. I feel like if you're willing to sacrifice your morals for more money, it shows your morals are kind of worthless and your priorities aren't straight. I don't know, it's really like a big, like I want someone who's driven from passion and actually likes doing things. So the money thing is really a no-go for me.
I agree with that, for sure. I think it's a turn off just because it feels like the wrong goal to be chasing, definitely. Yeah, for me, I think
you don't wanna like fake your interest for the person you like.
Exactly.
You want to actually be interested. So
Yeah.
here's some do's and don'ts right now. Okay, that was a good start. I hope that made sense. Okay, let me check this off really quickly. Question 1 finished. Okay. Second one, can people lose feelings in one night after being good for a long time? I guess we're gonna give you kind of like a guy and then girl's perspective. Do you want to start us off?
I'm actually really interested in hearing your perspective.
Okay, I guess I'll give you a guy's perspective first for my female audience.
Yeah.
You can find out. I feel like a guy can definitely lose feelings after one specific moment, like in one night. Like he can't just like fall asleep and then wake up with no feelings. Like that's not a real thing. But what he can do is like he can have a moment or he can have a situation a little bit before or after, like you noticing it, and actually definitely before you noticing it, but like it could be a moment that happened like a little bit before that really threw him off and kind of changed his ideas about you, if that makes sense. Like if I really like some girl and then out of nowhere, like the first time you like meet her with her parents, she's like super rude to her parents, and you just found that out, like you can definitely lose feelings in one night. It's not like, oh, like I like am really liking this girl, let me like fall asleep before school and then wake up for school and be like, no, like I don't like, that's not how that happens. It's usually like a specific moment that kind of sets it off, if that makes sense. So I feel like that's definitely happened to at least a lot of you on here. Like you've definitely had a moment where you're like thrown off and you're like, wait, even though like I have been talking to this girl for like 2-3 months, like it's just not right, and then you just gone like the wind. What about you?
I just wanted to ask, you don't think that even if you like a girl a lot, that you have almost tunnel vision in the moment and you overlook certain things because
Okay. How can I get over someone I barely know but love? That's an interesting question. I wonder what kind of situation you're in. You go first on this one.
Okay, yeah. I feel like this is a very common thing to happen.
What do you mean? Like, what even is
Our
that?
generation.
Explain that, yeah.
I feel like it's very easy to fall for somebody very fast with just like the way that dating apps work, or just like talking to people online instead of in person. Everything is so available to us that it's so easy to create an idea of the person in your head, and like having a crush is so crazy. Like, it takes you over and you just create the ideal person that you want, and you kind of make that person fit your mold of who you want to be with. And because we just see them online and not as much in person, maybe it's so much easier to do that. And I feel like it's a lot easier to fall for someone really hard at the beginning and then realize that actually that was just your perception of them.
But like, so how do you get over it?
That's the thing. I think that's a really difficult thing to do. But I think what's really helpful is realizing that, first, just realizing that that's what you're doing, is creating an image of that person.
Okay.
And you have to stay super curious at the beginning stages of talking to someone, and almost like skeptical, where it's like, don't assume anything about this person until they really show it to you and they really prove it to you. You know?
That makes sense, yeah. Like, I think I would actually just have to agree with you. I feel like it is really easy to kind of create an image of someone in your head that's not really them, and you want them to check every single box so bad that they end up like checking the box without actually proving they can check the box. And so, yeah, you have to realize, and then you have to kind of give your slap back to reality, like give yourself a slap back to reality. And if you really do like that person, why not like go and make it happen? You know, you can go up to them, you can talk to them more, you can send them a message. Like, life is too short to just be imagining things, guys. So I think we tackled that one pretty good. I feel like we gave a pretty straight up answer, y'all.
Yeah.
Get better. Just kidding. Okay, so alright. How to approach women and men. Alright, I guess I'll go first on this.
Go first.
Guys usually just really like any type of girl going up to them just because it never happens to them. Like, I, as a man, like, have had probably like once or twice someone ever come up to me and be like, I think you're really cute, like, let me get your number. Like, that does not happen to guys, so you should totally go up to a guy, and even if like it doesn't end up going the way you want it to go, you can like, you're going outside of your comfort zone and you're getting what you want to get at, and also it makes their day better. Like, it helps with the ego. Like, why would you not want to make someone else feel good? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's never that personal. If they say no, it's never that personal. They don't know you. How can it be personal? They're just not feeling it, or they got things going on in their life that they can't necessarily talk about. Maybe they're going through a breakup. Maybe they're trying to figure themselves out. It's never personal, you know? So I really say go up to guys. Don't be like rude. Just be like nice and simple. Like, hey, like, I saw you from over there. Or hey, like, I've been meaning to come up to you. Don't make it sound creepy. Don't be like, I've been watching you like for weeks. Like, don't do that. You can honestly slide in the DM. Guys don't like it when it's like, I don't know, when it's like indirect. Like, they don't want to entertain that. I don't know.
What do you mean indirect?
Like, don't just like stories and not say anything after. You know what I'm saying? Or don't like stare in class and not talk to them. Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, we want something direct. We want something supposed to.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like girls are always like, oh, I keep getting like, I don't know, like people come up to me in the street, at the gym. No.
I don't know. Personally, I don't know if it's just because I'm very like resting, like not approachable face.
Okay.
But I don't think anyone's ever came up to me and been like, oh, can I get your number?
Okay,
like,
interesting.
no. I think something as girls, there's two situations. I feel like one is that it's really easy for us to look unapproachable in public and people get really intimidated to come up to you. And I think another thing is that like the people who do come up to us, like the guys that have come up to me are like very creepy men that are
But like what separates a creepy man from an uncreepy man? Is it just because he's
like
attractive?
a 40-year-old man.
Oh.
Like old creepy men and like weird people. But I don't know, I feel like in general guys think that girls get approached a lot, but they actually don't. By like nice guys, they really don't. It's kind of very similar where like we would just love it if guys would just come up to us and be like, hey, I think you're really cute, can I get your number? I think it does happen more to girls than guys, but I don't think it happens as much as you guys think it does. So advice for guys is also like, don't be afraid to go up to a girl and just be nice, and same thing, don't be creepy and just ask for her number, or just be like, oh hey, if it's in like a school setting, it's so easy to make conversation about class and like studying exams. That's always a great way to do it.
I feel like a lot of guys have this question where it's like people get categorized as creepy just because they're unattractive. But like what really defines creepiness? Just like
I don't think
age
so.
only, or like
No, I think creepy is like the persistence when a girl is like uninterested. Maybe like if a guy came up to me and asked for my number, like I've had people come up to me and ask for my number.
okay, so you have.
No, like the creepy guys.
Okay.
And I've just said yes because I'm scared and I don't want to be mean. I'm just scared. And so I'll just be like, yes. So I think it's like most girls are gonna be nice. Sometimes maybe not, which is okay. But I think what makes somebody creepy is if they keep coming up to you and persisting, even though you've shown that maybe you're not interested, or like say you give them your number because you just feel like you have to, and then they text you and then you don't text them back, but then they start like bombarding you with texts or being weird. Like I feel like there's a fine line, but also in general I feel like you can just tell by body language. If the girl is just like, oh yeah, have my number, but then she just like leaves, it's kind of like she's not that interested.
Nice.
But if she starts a conversation with you, then she also wants to talk to you. You know?
I feel like that's what differentiates a guy and a girl. I feel like a guy will tell you straight up, but a girl will give you her number even if she doesn't want to. Like, you're really like,
I get scared.
you like know if a girl likes you if she's keeping the conversation going with you after the fact.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the sauce, you guys.
That's it.
Okay. Next question. Okay, wait. Crossing this one off. Okay. What do you do when you give someone 110%, but they only give you 10% back?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is a good one. This, I feel like, is really hard because you don't want to admit that you're the one giving 110%, and you don't want to admit that you're not getting enough back. I feel like it's really easy to try to make excuses. Say when someone's like you don't want them in your life. Like, it is not valid to keep them in your life if you're not getting enough back. That's my opinion.
I would have to completely agree with your answer. I feel like the first step is admitting to yourself, once again, that you're doing the most and they're not doing anything. And it's either you need to sit down with them and have a real adult conversation about it and voice your opinion and voice how you want to move forward, or there's just the option of you've tried that, you don't feel listened to, and the next step is just throwing them in the garbage. Honestly, like, you just need to get them out because it's not worth your time trying to communicate with someone who doesn't want to be communicated with, someone who doesn't want to be helped, someone who's not willing to put in the effort. If you're with someone, they're willing to put in the effort for you. It's you or no one. And oh, they just went to the bathroom.
Damn. Ew.
Okay. But yeah, no, it's if you really love someone, you're gonna be willing to put in that extra little bit of effort to sustain that relationship. So I think I agree with my colleague Judea over here. And yeah, you go ahead and find someone new, or you try and work with them. But I don't know, if you're really that down bad, you gotta let it go.
Also, like, when you think about the type of person that you want to be in a relationship, chances are you're gonna picture somebody who's showing you a lot of love. I think it's very rare that you're gonna imagine somebody who is not talking to you, like, not messaging you, not giving you energy. When you picture your relationship or whatever you want to be receiving and giving equally.
Right.
So that just shows that if that's not happening, then that isn't something that you should keep yourself in, and you should let it go, as hard as it is. There are other options out there. There are always other options.
Yes, for sure. Okay. Alright, I think we did get on this question, so
Yeah.
you're asking really good questions though so far. Let me cross this off. Alright. How do you know when people like you? Alright, so I think I might go first on that one. I feel like, as a guy, I feel like I know when someone likes me when they put in effort to respond to me. They ask me questions back. Like, it's not like I'm asking all the questions and you're just responding dry answers, and I'm trying to, like, come up with questions with what you're giving me, but you're not giving me shit, and you don't, like, seem to care about me. So yeah, so as long as you're kind of contributing to the conversation, showing your interest, and I don't know, I feel like I'm also kind of expecting, like, a playful behavior, like something that kind of creates tension. Honestly, I was having this conversation with someone, another therapist friend of mine, who was like, I don't think that you should, like, kind of go back and forth with your partner because it's kind of toxic. And I was like, but actually you can go back and forth in a playful way and kind of create that tension and be like, you're a loser, no, you're a loser, like, you're ugly, no, you're ugly. Like, we both know that we're not ugly, like, we want to be with each other, and, like, you know what I'm saying, like,
Exactly.
So I feel like a good way is, like, you kind of create that playful attitude and that playful, I don't know, tension with your significant other, giving them that energy back. And yeah, I don't know, that's kind of how I feel like. Also in person, a lot of eye contact, also deliberate actions to get closer physically to that person. If it's like sitting next to you or like touching your arm or something like that, like, that's something that I really pick up on when I'm, like, one-on-one with someone, or like even in a group. Like, it can be really subtle, but I'm gonna notice if you, like, touch my hand or like scooch next to me or like move to like get next to me in a group, like I'm gonna notice. So that's my thoughts. What about you?
That's good to know, because I feel like a lot of girls sometimes think that guys don't pick up on that. So I feel like that's good to hear. Now we know that they do pick up on that. So keep doing it. Keep doing it. I really agree with like the playful idea, if that is something that you really like in a relationship. Like, for example, sarcasm and like just going back and forth, playful banter. If that's something that you like and value, then definitely like something that you look for. But also the same, I think, like I feel like I know when someone likes me when they remember little things about our conversation, and you can tell that they're being really aware when we are like hanging out and having a conversation, because they remember the small things. And when you can tell that they're like putting in effort to take the time to talk to you, once again, same thing. And also just like random things where you can tell that they're thinking about you, and they'll like text you at like a random moment. That's always nice, because it's the difference between like texting just to respond and like texting because they want to text you, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Which is a
moment
big difference.
that like remind you of them or me, like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, I was thinking about you. Like, let me text you. Like,
Yeah, like that's very important. And I feel like, yeah, when people just aren't afraid to like compliment you. Sorry, I hit my thing. When people aren't afraid to compliment you, but also even if they are, like if you have like playful banter and you're like making fun of each other, but as long as there's like a balance where they're also like validating you and complimenting you, and there's like also flirty things going on.
Yeah, okay. I guess we're on the same page about that.
Yeah.
I guess for guys and girls it's pretty similar most of the time.
I think it is, yeah.
We're just oblivious and are scared, I guess. It's okay for us too.
Yeah.
Even as therapists, you know, we have our own problems.
We have our things.
Okay, wait.
That was a good one.
Would it be okay if your significant other had a best friend of the other gender? Okay, well, listen. My coworker over here, we're good friends, and she has a significant other right now, and it's not impeding on anything. I feel like as long as there's the trust and there's mutual respect, I feel like it should be completely okay. I would actually not even consider someone as my significant other if there wasn't that pre-established trust that I could hang out with someone and them not tripping over. Because if it's already a problem from the beginning, I don't feel like explaining to that person that that should be an okay thing within a relationship. Like, you should be grown enough to understand that I've had friends from before you that are really important to me, that I want to be able to still see and talk to, and just because they're a different gender does not mean shit. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like the people who are like insecure about it are just like don't have a lot of things going on.
Yeah. I really liked your point where you said that you wouldn't be in a relationship with someone who you didn't have that trust with. That is so true, and something that I feel like a lot of people need to remember in that moment. I feel like I have a really good just example of all of this, because I've mainly, ever since I got to university, my main friend group is men and guys, and all of my guy friends are like in my friend group are in relationships. So one of my best friends, he has a girlfriend from back home. They're like in a long distance relationship, and they've been together for so long, and he's best friends with me and my roommate, who's also a girl, and even though she's gay, but also we are all so close in just such a family way that like every time he brings his girlfriend, we're so excited and we all hang out, so sad if one of my guy friends couldn't hang out with me because of a relationship.
Honestly.
Or if I had a significant other who wouldn't let me hang out with my guy friends. Like, it would just be very heartbreaking. So
honestly, and like my best friend ever, or like one of my best friends ever of all time is a girl. And so I would be really sad if I couldn't see her, and yeah, like it should be a no-brainer that you are allowed, and if that person is not ready to accept it, then on to the next. As Judea said, there's way more people out there.
Yeah, but it does depend on the person, because it is true that there are some people who are not just friends with guys because they're genuinely friends with them, but because they're just very flirty. And I don't know, I've heard a lot of people be like, oh, if you're friends with guys, like, you have to have a crush on them or something like that, or vice versa.
But I actually agree with your point that there are people out there that have ill intent and are going to try to like get at your significant other.
Yeah.
And there are people that you should keep your eye out on, and I've been in that situation, and I feel like, you know, like if you're in a relationship with someone, you're like have spidey senses and like sense it low-key. And so I don't know, I don't really know how, but I kind of have a gut feeling. I feel like if I were to give you examples of how to spot someone who has ill intent, is someone who talks bad about you to your significant other behind your back, someone who will try and separate you from them, like point out their flaws and try to really just like put them on blast. People who make you want to do regrettable things that will hurt your relationship. But yeah, keep your eye out for those people.
I feel like those are just people you shouldn't be friends with in
general.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything to add? No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that's all we had to say.
Okay, let's cross this one off. Alright. Next question. Advice for a first date: food, time, place, location. How about you start us off with this one?
Okay.
As a girl, what are your expectations? What do you want? What do you don't want?
Yeah, I feel like I have kind of like mixed opinions on this, because I don't know, personally, I feel like I don't expect that much on a first date. But I do have a list. Basically, for a first date with a guy, I personally really like meeting for coffee or something during the day, because if it's something at night, if a guy suggests to do something at night very late, usually I'm just gonna expect that he's expecting a hookup. And if that's not what you're looking for, if you're looking for a relationship, then that's not the date you want to go on. But there are exceptions, because sometimes you can like go for drinks at night, and that can be fine if your schedules are both super busy. I enjoy coffee though, and something during the day, just because it's a short period of time and you have enough time to get to know the person, talk to them, and you're also in an environment where you're people watching. There's kind of always something interesting happening, which is fun. And once again, it's quick.
Would you recommend the location, or do you kind of expect him to do all of the planning?
Okay, this is something. So with the current person that I'm talking to, I feel like something that was really refreshing was that when somebody else plans the spot and knows where they want to go, that is always really nice and feels really good.
Okay.
Because I've had a lot of dates where they're like, oh, you want to hang out, and then I'm just expected to plan things, and I feel like that got really tiring. But if there's a place that I really want to go, if I have like a favorite coffee shop and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to go to my favorite coffee shop, then I'll suggest it for sure. But I really don't like when it's like there's a back and forth and we're like, oh, where should we go? I like when people have a plan of what each other is just really awkward. Another like tip I have for first date. Sorry, I have a lot.
No, please go, please.
Something really important, I think, is when you're sitting next to each other rather than across. Because when you're sitting across from somebody, it just feels like you're having an interview with that person, like a job interview, and you're just going back and forth, asking questions. When you're sitting next to someone, it feels more, I don't know, like less serious, and you can be next to them, and you don't have this like front-facing, crazy, I don't know,
agree. No,
if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, it does make sense.
So I feel like that's, I don't know, helpful.
It is helpful. I think as a guy, we feel like there's a lot of pressure for us to be planning, so you kind of just confirm that.
It's not even like the pressure of like, oh, you have to do everything. It's just like if you ask to hang out, but then you have no idea what you want to do, that's kind of frustrating.
So you say ask to hang out after you know what you want to do?
I think so. Unless a great way to do it is to be like, oh, like, I'd love to hang out. Like, do you have a favorite spot that you want to go to? Like, that's great. And then if the girl says, like, no, then, like, you should take the reins, I feel like.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So you put the ball in their court, and then if there isn't, you go and choose your own spot. Okay.
Yeah.
For guys, I say, find yourself someone that's decisive. No, like, for guys, I say go in with a game plan. I feel like for a first date, you have to go with something that, like, you know and that is familiar to you. So kind of what you said.
Yeah.
Somewhere that, like, you know that there's gonna be things happening. I do feel like a dinner date on the first date is kind of not original. I feel like girls want something original. I feel like a good first date would be like ice cream or a picnic where you like, are actively doing something rather than just expected to conversate.
Exactly.
So I feel like if you're doing an activity, it's definitely something that, and going a walk and like people watching is honestly the best thing for a date, because you can kind of read how the other person is observing, just like people in general and like their thought process on things and stuff like that. So I think that going with a game plan, put the ball in their court, and then decide what you want to do based on that. You don't want to be over whooping it, which means you don't want to be overdoing it. You don't want to like be like, are you sure? Like, are you sure you want to go here? Like, are you sure? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not, like, don't be indecisive. That's not the way to go. So yeah, and honestly, that's for guys, girls. Date them. It's literally everyone. Like, people like when the other person is decisive, and when there's not like big blanks of no conversation that are awkward. Like, you always want to like have something to fall back on.
Yeah, especially if you're the person asking the other person on the date. Like, if you're gonna ask someone on a date and then you're like, and then they're like, oh yes, I'd love to go on a date, and then they're just like, okay, well, I don't know. Like, then it's like, why did you even ask me on a date? Like,
exactly. And I feel like a movie is not a good first date because you're just not talking to the other person. I feel like if there's like activities around it, like we're hanging out and then we're going to the movies or something. But like if it's just we're meeting at the movies and leaving after the movie.
Yeah, no. I feel like it'd be fine for like a third date, something like that. But like, no,
Okay. We're crossing them off slowly but surely. Okay. How about we do this one and then we'll just do this one at the end for you.
Yeah.
Do you think people's views of the world change after falling in love? How about you go first?
Okay. Well, I don't know if I have a personal opinion on this one, since I don't think I've been in love.
But as a therapist,
I feel like I have a lot of opinion on this. I think your view can definitely change on the world. much as you want, but I think it's completely different. And so I think that your perception of the world can totally change after you've been in love, for better or worse. Either way. Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, I agree with that point. I feel like it gives you a different perspective on the view and just of the view of the world and just how you process emotions in general. You can be looking at a situation on the outside, but like once you're in there, like it's a whole different ball game. And so yeah, you can definitely, especially if it's like you've had a really healthy relationship or you've had a really toxic relationship, that can really change your thoughts and perspective on love in general. Like that's why people build trust issues and stuff, because their first relationship was not good, and that will change their perspective on relationships as a whole. Like their next relationships will automatically start off with a rocky start or something of the sort because of their last, or just before they're even in a relationship, they're like already not as like excited about being in the next one, and yeah, or they can be in like a really great relationship and then they're like, I can't believe how people like don't feel this love all the time, or have never felt this love all the time, and like you don't have to change. And so I feel like that is my point on that. And actually, to bounce off that, my therapist friend who I was talking to actually told me that people fall in love in 3 minutes. What is your thought on that?
3 minutes?
Yes, she is a psychology major at McGill, actually.
Wow. I have heard that before, actually. And even my roommate, who's also a psychology major, other therapist, has said similar things. And how also like first impressions and appearances make a huge impact.
Right.
And I think that's really interesting, but I don't know. I don't think you can fall in love in the first 3 minutes of meeting somebody.
I find it hard to believe because I fall in love with someone's personality.
Yeah.
I fall in love with like their or everything. I don't feel like you can't get a grasp of everything in the first 3 minutes.
I feel like it has to grow slowly, because as you get to know the person more and you can further like just find out facts about this person, you're learning more things about them, and that's what's making your love for them grow, and that's what's making you fall in love more. I don't know.
I definitely agree with that, and I didn't believe the other therapist at first, but I guess it's kind of something that happens in your head, and I feel like I've definitely felt that spark in 3 minutes, but I feel like I haven't been in love. Like I don't consider that love. I feel like you can get the spark in 3 minutes.
Definitely.
What do you think? I don't know.
Yeah.
Let us know. Okay, and that's the end of this question. Okay, and now we actually had a little exercise for you. We're gonna set an imaginary situation and we want you to answer it, but we also want to talk about it together and kind of get a consensus on it. So
Yeah.
Lego. Alright, so the situation goes like this. You've liked a guy since 9th grade, and you're in 12th grade now, and you've liked each other on and off since then. This past summer, you started to talk, but he decided he needed to focus on school and said he didn't want to date during school. As of right now, you really still like him, and you're best friends, but you don't know if he really likes you, and you don't know if you should wait or move on. Do you want to let us know your thoughts about that? Or
I do.
maybe you let us know if you agree with our way of thinking.
Yeah, I think this might be a little bit controversial.
Okay.
Just because I think it's gonna be kind of like a hard pill to swallow. But I think if there's been a lot of back and forth over a couple of years, hypothetically in a situation, I feel like a lot of people have said this, but when somebody wants to be in a relationship with you, they're gonna make it happen. Like, if they like you and they want to be in a relationship and they want to date you, then it will happen. And there won't be this back and forth of like this long distance, and also like you shouldn't be unsure about it, which is the hardest thing, because also it could be wrong in some situations. There are some situations where there is just a lot of back and forth, and there's people who just don't want to make a move for whatever reason. But in my opinion, I feel like it unfortunately kind of is a like right place, right time situation.
Definitely.
There's been a lot of stories I've heard of like people who grew up and they talk about their crush that they had in high school, and they ask him or her and they're like, oh well, why didn't you ever ask me out or something? And they'll always be like, oh my gosh, well, like I really liked you but I was just too scared. But then life moved on, and in a different moment in their life, they when they actually were ready for a relationship, whoever was right there was the person they ended up choosing. So it ended up being a different person that they ended up being with just because of their timing.
For sure, I definitely agree. And I think that like indeed it feelings come and go, I feel like, for a lot of people. And even if there is still that slimmer of hope that you both kind of are holding on to, I feel like you can't wait for someone who doesn't like want to put in the effort right now to make it happen, you know what I'm saying? And like people like entertaining that because it's kind of like a safety net for both of you.
True.
But I feel like you shouldn't kind of wait around, because one day or the other, he's gonna find someone that is at the right place, right time, and it's gonna happen, and you're gonna be left in the dust waiting for someone who potentially didn't take you seriously. So, all cars passing. That's okay.
Also, in general, I think you said this earlier, but it's just like life is too short to sit and ruminate on whether or not this person likes you back. Continue living your life and try and be the happiest that you can be, because then you'll actually attract the person that you need to. Also, if you're confused about it and you have been friends for this long, I feel like you're at the point where you can just ask them straight up and just be like, hey, do you like me? Like, I really like you. And just be honest. And there might be a fear of like ruining a friendship, but it's like, if you want to date this person, wouldn't it be better to just know if they wanted to date you also?
And this goes for guys and girls.
Yeah, both ways, exactly.
So, I think we agree. I feel like, I hope you kind of came up with a similar situation, but
yeah.
I feel like both of your therapists agree on the solution for that.
So,
honestly, since this was such a good situation, might as well look at another one together, kind of see what you're thinking.
One more. Okay, so suppose that you like somebody and you have good chemistry with them, and maybe you've played video games a couple times together and you've stayed up late doing it, and you send each other reels, but you find that you're sending him a little bit more reels, and you talk a lot, but you don't think that he likes you back, but he's also sat beside you a lot and shoots a lot of glances at you when you're in a group together. You sat next to them a lot and you shoot each other glances when you're in a group. Also, you guys tease each other back and forth. You have a lot of banter. So what does this mean is the overall question. And is this just because he's being stubborn that he's teasing you? Or is it because he likes you is the question. So what do you think?
I feel like if he liked you, he would make it really obvious. I feel like at this point, I think he's just entertaining it, honestly. I feel like he does like you to an extent, but he doesn't want to make it official, because either he has something else going on or his mind isn't in the right place. So I feel like to get an answer out of him, you gotta confront him to that real question, or just like, honestly, like, just forget about him, really, because because I feel like he's just entertaining and got you stringed along to whatever shenanigans he got, and he knows that he like has you on a leash pretty much because you're the one sending him more reels, you're the one putting in more effort, but it's clear that he just doesn't care enough, and it shouldn't be like that. It should be 50-50. I don't know if you think the same way.
Unfortunately, I do think that you're right about like the entertaining, and I think that's just unfair to you as a person. I think that you should be confident enough in yourself that you wouldn't want to let that happen, and you would only want to put time and effort into someone that actually wants to like cuff you if you are looking for a relationship. If that's the situation, if you're just looking to be entertained, then that's fine. But in general, if you're looking to be in a relationship, don't waste time over someone who's just stringing you along, trying to just, it's because they know that they can keep you around just for fun and just to satisfy their needs. But why would you want to let yourself be that for somebody? That's like a form of like self-degrading yourself. So the hardest part of that situation is to get yourself out of that situation, because in the long run, that's like an act of self-love, removing yourself from that situation, because you know you deserve better if that is the case, where you know that he's stringing you along. But it depends, because also, like, I feel like guys can also just be really shy sometimes, and
yeah, but I feel like guys that are shy would actually compensate by being more active online and stuff like that.
I think you're right.
And
I do think you're right.
I don't think he's giving that energy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it's something that you have to kind of analyze for yourself with your conversations online and a little bit more in person. But overall, I think it's what we said.
Yeah, online presence for someone who is very shy is a good way to see if they like you or not. Also,
I agree.
how fast they text, if they're sending you videos, if they're liking your posts, if they're giving you attention online. So yeah, we just finished the session, but the thing that we do with our favorite clients is we finish the session off with positive affirmations. So I'll kind of start us off, and then Jerde will finish it. Okay, so I just want to let you know that you're loved, and you're going to get that perfect relationship that you've been waiting for. All you have to do is be patient, and I know you're patient, and I know you're willing to wait, and the relationship that you're about to get is about to change and rock your world and make you come to terms with yourself. So don't be afraid, don't stress out, don't think that you're too late, because it's going to come and you're going to find that person. I have faith and hope that everything's gonna work out fine. You're charming. Who wouldn't want to be with you, honestly? And I just know it's gonna happen, so don't you worry. Keep your head up, king and queen. Alright, Judea.
Yes, I just want you to know that you are so special, and remember how special you are and how unique you are as a person. Know that anybody should be so lucky to be with you and be able to spend time with you and be able to be in a relationship with you. Your time is so valuable, and don't let anybody tell you that you're not worth it. You are worth it, and your relationship is coming